Are we live?
And welcome back to Kings of Influence.
Yeah. Kings of Influence.
Kings of Influence.
How's it going, everybody? It's Wednesday at noon plus 45 minutes, and we are back at you, coming at you live from YouTube.
That's right.
On our new channel.
When are we going live every week, Lloyd?
We're going live at noon, if the internet will let us do it. We've been battling with the internet. I feel like YouTube is just geared for beefs right now, and we are gonna have a beef now with internet YouTube star YouTube itself because it was being a bitch and we couldn't get live.
Is that a thing? Can we just beef? Should that be our whole thing? We just beef with YouTubers and or just celebrities in general?
Yeah.
Call them out and challenge them to boxing matches and that kind of stuff.
We'll just keep on fishing until somebody bites, and then that'll make us.
Okay, I'm calling out. Okay, so my next fight, I want to fight the girl from Stranger Things, the young one.
11 or 7?
Yeah.
8. Or is she 9 now? Is she?
I think she's always been 11.
You're gonna call out 11?
Yeah.
Ray William Johnson.
I'm calling
versus
out 11.
Yeah, right.
We are gonna fight.
Yeah.
In the no.
She's gonna bleed out of her nose. That's
true.
Gonna happen.
She's gonna use some mind tricks and fuck me up.
Maybe that's why Jake Paul bled out of his nose, because he's actually got weird psychedelic reverse side powers.
I totally buy that. I'm way into that.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
I'm calling out Grimace from McDonald's.
Ooh.
I'm calling out that fucking purple monster. What are you supposed to be? A shake? Some people say you're supposed to be the shake. I don't buy that. There's no purple shake. I'm calling you out, Grimace.
I hear he's kind of a badass. You better watch out.
Oh man, I actually named my surfboard Grimace.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's purple.
First of all, you have a surfboard?
I have 2.
What? You're that guy?
I am.
You have 2 surfboards?
Do you want to go surfing?
In case one of them breaks?
Yeah. No. Surfboards are like guitars. Like they do different things. So one's bigger, one's longer. They play different. So that's why you have more than one. And you know what you call your collection of surfboards?
A surfati.
No, a clutch.
A clutch of surfboards?
Hell yeah, bro. That's dope.
Why
right?
does that sound so douchey?
I don't know. I think it sounds kind of awesome.
I got my clutch of surfboards. What? Your entire clutch? Yeah, my whole clutch.
Yeah, I got a whole clutch, bro.
A whole clutch.
What's up, clutch?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is insane. So guys, we are live. We are here live on YouTube. This is our first live stream on YouTube where we are actually live doing the podcast, and we plan on doing this when, Lloyd?
We do it every Wednesday at noon Pacific time, as long as YouTube's not being a bitch.
Right, as long as we can get the text. So every Wednesday at noon California time.
Yeah.
We got a great show for you this week. We're going to talk a little bit about the YouTuber Gigi Gorgeous and her pregnancy journey, which is pretty interesting.
All right.
A little controversy over that. Eminem released an album this week. A little bit of controversy there.
Okay.
Internet made the internet mad over some stuff. Louis C.K.
is
trying to come back to stand-up.
Oh,
Internet's mad about that.
Yep.
We got to talk about that. And of course, what happened yesterday with the Nike Colin Kaepernick ad. Oh boy, the internet is so pissed.
Dude, this is a big week. I got chills right now.
I know. I don't know how the internet can contain all its anger.
There's so much internet outrage that it's barely staying on the internet. It's jumping off the screen.
I know, no kidding. All right, well, before we get into that, let's talk about a sponsor really quick. So we have an account on Amazon that helps our podcast out. So if you're going to do any shopping on Amazon, use our link first. It's amazon.com/shop/kings. The link is in the description. Just go through that. We got a little page. It's got some funny items on it. You don't have to buy those items. Buy whatever you were going to buy anyway on Amazon. Doesn't cost you anything extra. Amazon pays us for referring you as a customer.
How exciting. We got a sponsor.
That's great.
I feel like it's almost like our version of a bat mitzvah a little bit.
A little bit. We're breaking through.
We're breaking through.
Breaking the mold. So guys,
great.
that supports our podcast every week. Again, it's amazon.com/shop/kings. Buy whatever you're going to buy anyway. Doesn't cost you anything. Amazon pays us for referring you. Thank you so much. So let's jump right into it because we got a bunch to talk about.
We do.
There was this story this week about this YouTuber named Gigi Gorgeous. So Gigi, let's get a little picture of her.
Gigi Gorgeous.
Gigi Gorgeous. There she is.
Gorgeous.
There you go. So Gigi is a transgender YouTuber, influencer, mega star. She had a a documentary made about her. It was up on YouTube Red and all kinds of stuff. Really, she's really been blown up in the last couple of years. And I think it's cool. I think it's cool that she's documenting her, her journey and all of that stuff for any like young trans.
Is she documenting the journey of her transition? Is that what she's documenting?
So I think the documentary about her was about that. I don't know what she really does in her videos other than look at a camera and talk. But, welcome to being a YouTuber.
Right.
But I think it's publicly known that she is trans, and that I think that gives like young people someone to, look towards.
A hero.
Yeah, if they want to idolize her or whatever. And it kind of normalizes the whole thing, which I think could be good. Now, so this week she made a video, and she was upset. Okay, sorry, let me give you a little... Sorry, I'm trying to figure out where to start because it's so complicated. So she was upset because she's trying to have a kid. Like she wants to have a kid. So she
started
transitioned from male to female.
Male to female. Now, has she gotten surgery? She has female genitalia at this point?
Okay, so that's where it gets complicated.
Okay.
So she has not gone through with the full surgery.
So
according to her in her videos, she's still got a penis.
Okay.
That's a thing. So, but she has gone through the hormones and all that stuff. So her journey is a little bit interesting, and I'm only going off what she has said. So first, a long time ago, she was a genetically born male, and she came out as gay.
Okay.
And then a few years later, she came out as trans.
Okay.
And then a few years after that, she started dating, she got a girlfriend and then came out as lesbian.
What?
I know, it's a little bit confusing. Like, I'm happy she's figuring out who she is. She's just taken the longest way to get there ever. She's taken the scenic route.
Okay.
And so, and she announced in this video that she actually hasn't had the surgery yet. So that's where it gets really complicated. So she is a trans lesbian dating a woman, but who still has a penis.
Yeah. Okay.
The definitions are getting a little weird, but if you think about it, I think about it, and this is kind of funny. This is me just being a jerk. It's kind of funny. She started out as a person with a penis who dates women, and then went through a transition, went through another transition, coming out of the closet each time, and ended as a person with a penis dating a woman.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to follow.
It's really hard to follow.
I can't imagine what it must be like for her to try to manage those emotions in her brain. I think she just has the unfortunate reality where she's a very public figure and she has to sort of announce it. I think, why is she so quick to have to like label it? Why doesn't she just be like, I mean, this is obviously coming from me. I feel like we always have to qualify it.
How dare you, Lloyd?
Yeah, right?
With your cisgender perspective.
I know. Two straight white males telling you how it is, minorities. I feel like it seems like there's probably a lot of pressure for her to define it, and I would say maybe she doesn't have to do that. Maybe she just says, I don't know, I'm figuring it out, and every y'all can fuck off, Yeah. But probably for yourself, it probably does help to have some sort of categorization to normalize yourself. But what the fuck do I know?
No. I'm not pressuring anyone to define it. I'm giving it a definition because she did.
Right.
Like I'm explaining the journey as I noticed it. So anyway, she is, from what I read, 26 years old, and she feels it's time that, she wants to have a kid. So she makes a video talking about it. And I'll tell you the story, but the controversy, the reason why people got mad is because in the video, she was, I think, inadvertently equating having a kid with like being a real woman, which insulted a lot of women who either can't or don't want kids. I don't think that was Gigi's intention, but that it upset the internet, and that's why we're talking about it.
So the story, it wasn't being upset that a transgendered person wanted to have a child.
That's
it was more
probably
about,
part of it too.
Yeah, was it like cloaked? Was it that real sentiment cloaked in?
I think it's half and half.
Yeah.
My guess is it's half and half. My guess is it's a lot of women who are like, wait a minute, I can't have kids, and you're putting me down. And then it's a lot of people that are like, yeah, you can't have kids because you're a guy. Like those people.
Yeah, what does she mean by having kids? Does she want to have sex with a woman and be?
She wants to be pregnant.
You can't be pregnant.
She can't. She doesn't have a uterus.
Yeah, and you can't get that surgery. There's no surgery for that. You're not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, the science definitely isn't there yet. Now,
I think we're really far away from that. That is
my
so
guess too.
complex.
My guess too. So okay. So here's the story. The story itself is interesting. So she goes to the fertility clinic, and she's going to. I guess she had been trying to get her girlfriend pregnant with her penis.
Okay.
So I guess it wasn't happening. So she goes
or with her balls. I guess don't leave out the balls.
Yeah, I don't want to neglect the balls. Everyone neglects the balls. Don't want to
never
do that.
do it.
So she goes to the fertility clinic, and they are like, yeah. So the doctor is like, yeah. So we probably can't use your sperm to impregnate. Like, it's very likely we can't use your sperm to impregnate your partner.
Why?
Well, there are a couple of things that would affect the sperm. One of them is age. Another one is genetics, like born with terrible sperm count or whatever. And a third one is if you've been taking
all these
hormones
drugs
for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's permanent damage, but it sounds like she would have to quit the hormones.
That makes perfect sense. You got to have one. I mean, that makes perfect sense. You can't plug yourself with a bunch of estrogen and then ask all the testosterone stuff to work.
Right. You can't either have surgery on your reproductive organs or mess with your reproductive hormones and expect to still be able to reproduce. The part that really gets me is like there's like you have to go through like a lot of consultation before you get on, what is it, sexual reassignment, hormones or surgery or anything like that.
Right.
And it came across as if this was a shock to her in the video. Like it's weird to me to think that really that first doctor didn't sit you down and go, look, before you take these hormones, guess what?
Yeah.
Guess what's going to be affected? Now, I fail to believe that the doctor didn't say that. I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe the doctor didn't say it. Maybe she just wasn't there in her head. Maybe she just wasn't listening.
Well, first of all,
whatever.
Yeah, doctor should have said it.
It's obvious.
Also, look the shit up.
It's obvious, yeah.
If you're gonna get that kind of a surgery, like this is, I don't know what you would call. I'm not trying to. Well, whatever. Point of fact, doctor should probably tell her that. Probably he did.
Yeah.
She did. Whatever. But if you're gonna get that surgery, I would highly recommend you do some research as well. That should not be a surprise.
Well, she hadn't had the surgery, but the hormones.
The hormones.
Yeah.
But even still, like you should, as a human, you should do that research. Don't leave that much up to everybody else, especially with some shit that's as sensitive as that.
Yeah.
Like, man, I this is all conversation about this person's sexuality and this person's choices and who they want to be and who they believe they are and is identified. That's fine. But you have to ask yourself, as a doctor and as someone who's going to be doing this in pregnancy, what do you feel about this person? If you're still this up in the air about yourself, how does that affect your parenting? Whether or not you're sexual, what sex you are, regardless, as a human, how does that affect your ability to then be a parent? And I think that person should be pretty solid there before they try to be a parent, you know?
I agree on so many levels, even on the basic level of like, if someone came to me and that person were like chasing fame in the way that all entertainers are, in the way that, Gigi Gorgeous definitely is, and they said, I also now want to have a kid, I would say, wait, because right now, fame is your focus. That fame is your kid.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it can't be done. You see celebrities do it all the time with the help of nannies. It's not saying that it can't be done, but you're going to be a way more effective parent when you don't have this like fame thing, because the popularity, the fame, all that shit, it changes your life. It takes over your life. It is a new lifestyle in the same way that being a parent is a new lifestyle.
Hell yeah.
It is an insane. Do you remember when it all like changed? Maybe it happened slowly, maybe it did, but at some point you were like, fuck, I'm living a new life.
I mean, for sure. It was for me, it was like I was in the entertainment business a long time before that pop happened and whatever. So it wasn't like it wasn't like an overnight thing, but it definitely changed a whole hell of a lot. And I did things to make that happen more. Mm-hmm. And not unfortunately, that's a bad word, but Gigi, it sounds like her story, her transition story is part of what her fame story is. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense to think that it's these things, her journey, but on this transition, if it ever settles, if it ever becomes non peaks and valleys, then there's a chance that then the fame goes away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a scary thing. You know, I don't know this person personally at all. This is an outside objective perspective, but that is to be considered before you have a parent, a child, I would say.
Oh yeah.
And this is coming from me who has no children because of that very reason. I don't feel, I feel like there are so many people out there who would be a better parent than me, because I know that about myself, you know? So again, I don't know this person personally.
Kid fell off the table again.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and this, this brings up a point just to add, just out of curiosity. How do you feel about the whole gender pronoun thing? Just because, like, we've addressed it, not directly, but we've been calling Gigi she the entire time, and some people would insist that she is not a she, not only because she's genetically born male, but because she's, according to her, she still has a penis.
For me, it becomes down to a personal matter of like, if you want to be called a she, fine, that's fine, whatever. I'll call you whatever you really want.
Right.
Do you want me to call you a different pronoun based on how you show up that day? One day you dress one way, one day you dress another. All right. Like, I guess I will do. What do I feel about that? I feel like, how much do I like you as a person? Do I love you? Sure, great. I'll call you whatever the fuck you want. Do I want you to be happy? Sure, yeah, I do. Do I think that we should not teach the difference between boys and girls? No. I think there's biological differences. That is science. And you have to teach that there are exceptions. There are literally people, hermaphrodites, born with both sexes, biologically.
Yeah.
If people feel they're a different sex, fine, but you have to understand that you need, as a society, I feel like you need generalizations to function. If there's more rules made for exceptions than for the generalizations, then I think that gets real tough to manage.
Oh yeah.
So for me, it's like, I think if you want to like be like, no, fuck it, man, you're a guy, you have a penis, you're a guy, I'm only going to call you a guy, that's just you being a dick.
Oh yeah.
Whether or not you feel like that's biologically correct or accurate, it's like, who's this more important to?
Can you hear that car alarm?
Yeah, there's a car alarm.
I mean,
I live in the
well,
not the hood.
That's a car alarm outside. I mean, whatever. That sucks. That breeze was really nice. So, I totally agree. Totally agree. My thought is, like, if someone, was born a woman and wants to be called he, or sir or whatever, like, yeah, that's fine. Just let me know.
Yeah.
And I'll do the thing. Because look, at the end of the day, you're not going to pull this person's pants down and check and see if they have a dick.
Yeah.
You're not. So if they say, look, I'm a he, call me he, then that's what I'm going with. All right, great. Then that's what you are. Let's fucking move on.
I do think that it's a fence that needs to swing both ways. Like, I think that, like, standing everybody up at the beginning of a college class and being like, okay, what's everybody's pronouns? Let's go around the room. Or like, here, put a piece of paper and ask me. Like, that's a little bit too far. It's like going a little bit too far in terms of, like, it's just, if I fuck it up a couple times, you got to give me that.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Especially if you just changed it.
Yeah.
If you just changed it on me, you need to give me a minute.
Yeah, you got to let me. I'm sorry, man. All love to you. Like, power to you. I'm sure it is so much harder for you growing up with that going on in your brain than it is for me, as like, yeah, I was always a dude. I was always attracted to girls. I never really had that. There was no hop, skip, or jump in there for me. Easier.
Right.
Easier. But it is a shift on us. And I have been in experiences with that. I know a couple of trans people, and they are there. I think, and this is exactly the internet.
What?
They are super, like, forgiving, and they realize that, like, people need time to adjust. You know what I mean?
Knew one who wasn't.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The sound guy, that I work with. I don't want to, like, give away her name, but her, it was one of those, like, couple of letter changes on the name. So I'll just make this up. Like, her name was Robert, and she changed it to, like, Roberta or something. And so if you called her Robert, she would get really offended, and you just got to be like, give me a fucking second.
Yeah.
You have been Robert for the longest time,
Right.
and then you come at me with this name change. It's almost like if I came to you and was like, Lloyd, you need to call me LL Cool Ray from now on.
Right.
And anytime that you say Ray, I'm just Ray. I'm going to be very upset. Like, give people a second to adjust.
I think the majority of folks do. And there are probably, just like anything else, there are those situations where there's some people the extremes, and I don't think it helps. But yeah, that's kind of a bummer. I think that's not helpful.
No, that was clearly her hangups.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't know Gigi. I wish her well in her pregnancy journey. She may have to adopt. She had implied that the jury wasn't exactly in on her sperm count because she didn't give a sample. She just went through the consultation and all that.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's looking good, just based on statistics.
Yeah.
So I hope she gets what she wants.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
the
hope
science will be there soon.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I hope she really has the ability to concentrate on being a parent when it's time for her to be a parent.
Totally
I think things
agree.
happen for a reason on some levels, and I hope that she is able to make that her focus.
Yeah.
I give her all that positivity that she will, and maybe I feel like having a kid to fill a hole in you, not a right reason to have a kid.
No.
Not that that's her situation. I think in general, I've met people who have children to save marriages, have children to make themselves feel whole. And as a product of that, I think that doesn't really usually go well.
Oh, yeah. No, and as far as people being upset about someone trans having a kid and that messing up the kid, I would bet my money on the fame thing being a worse experience for the kid.
Oh yeah,
than the trans thing.
The fame thing is a legit problem. The being trans thing, the data's just not there to support that. Gay couples who raise children, the children are happier statistically, vocally and non-vocally. Trans, I don't know about that data. The only thing I would wonder was, I feel like you should be secure in whoever you are as much as you possibly can before you decide to bring another life in the world. So whatever you are, I feel like just try to land on that. That would be my advice, again, from me, who doesn't have any right to do it.
Well, look, our opinion matters, and it's relevant.
If Gigi was my friend, I would tell her the same thing.
I would too.
You know what I mean? And I hope that would be the type of. I feel like because the internet has made it so you don't have to be connected to people anymore. People aren't honest with one another in ways that you need to be put in check by your circle of friends sometimes, and not put in check, but just given honest feedback. Because it's not always going to be what you want to hear, and that's exactly why you need to hear it.
Yeah, totally agree. Agree. So, interesting. Eminem had a new album this week, and that was yours. You wanted to talk about that.
You got to talk about the Eminem drop. He drops Kamikaze out of nowhere. The Eminem album Kamikaze dropped a couple days ago, and on it, I think the bigger things, there's two things about it that make it kind of controversial. One, the fact that he just disses everybody up and down. It's old Eminem. He's dissing Lil Yachty. He's dissing Machine Gun Kelly. He's dissing Charlemagne. He's dissing everybody, which I think people love. Yeah. And that's going to stir up controversy anyway, because it's like we're in the beef era again. Yeah. And I can't tell whether that's good or bad. Beef era. We are in the era of beef again. It's just like what's happening because you can record music so fast now. He disses Drake. He's dissing everybody.
Can we get back to the vegan era?
Yeah, right. And then, his use of, some homophobic language.
He used the F word. I mean, we'll just say it for clarity because there is another F word. He used the word faggot in one of his lyrics, referring to Tyler the Creator. Yes. Something, I don't have the exact lyric, but something along the lines of, no wonder, Tyler the Creator. No wonder you used to call yourself faggot. And then he kind of goes on. It's definitely a reference to Tyler the Creator being, either gay or less than a man or something like that, if you really want to get analytical about it. And of course, the internet is all up in arms about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's nothing new for Eminem. He was using that language on the Slim Shady EP, and even before that, that's it's interesting he used that word. Still.
So, yeah, I definitely have some thoughts on this. on one hand, you know, he's an artist, let him do his art. People have said worse things. That's definitely an argument to be made, and I get it. On the other hand, it feels like it's 2018. He's in his, what, mid-40s?
Yeah, 46.
46. It feels like, you know, kind of old hat at this point, and it feels like he's a much more creative and better writer than that. I mean, calling someone a faggot now, like, not only is it offensive to, you know, a certain community or whatever, even if you're not into that, it sounds childish at this point. And I feel like he's better than that. He's better than that gutter language.
Yeah.
I feel like he's better than that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other side of that argument, which you can agree with or you're not, is words are changing and they mean different things. Like that has always been his argument about that word, is like, it doesn't mean that. It has nothing to do with sexual orientation, although I don't know that that's true, especially in the way he used it back in his old EPs. And like, it's very easy to distinguish how someone's using it. But there is argument that that's not what that word means anymore. Just like asshole or dick or cunt doesn't mean an actual biological thing. But I do feel it's a good thing if that word changes. And the longer and harder you hold on to it, the more power it grows. It's just not his word to change. You know, I don't know how you solve that problem. It's unfortunately, people are going to have to burn their what's the term? Hang their cross on, or whatever it means. Like, that's gonna have to be what you fight for, and that's what you're gonna be in the fight for. Like, I want to change this word as a white guy who's not gay because it doesn't mean that. That's gonna be the battle I fight.
Yeah,
I don't want to fight that battle.
I wouldn't want to fight that battle either. I would rather just not. So a little context. We used to say that as kids. Like my brother and all the neighborhood kids, because we didn't know any better.
Yeah.
It wasn't until maybe in my teens where I knew that it actually meant that I knew what gay was. Oh,
Right.
guys, you know, like, man likes another man. You know, you kind of learn like the basics of it,
Right.
and then we'd still use it as an insult because that's kind of what everyone was doing. It wasn't considered offensive in the way that it is now. Whereas like the N word, it was like completely no one ever say that.
Right.
But the word faggot, like, yeah, we would say it and we'd call each other that. My older brother used to call me that all the time. And then I would say like mid-teens, later in high school, it started to like phase out, and people weren't really saying it anymore.
Yeah.
And now people don't say it really at all.
Well, some people do. Like, I feel like.
Well, I'm speaking in general.
Does the gay community still use that word? Similar to like the M-bomb. You know what I mean? Does the gay community still use that word familiarly?
I don't know.
Familiarly, I can't even say that word. In their community, I don't hear it too much, to be honest. But yeah, maybe I just don't think words go away forever. Like,
No,
not really.
Definitely not.
You know, I feel like just the harder you hold on to it and the more power you give it, the more power it has. I don't want to fight that battle. I don't need to use that word at all. But there is a part of me that thinks that if you really want to kill that word, if you really want to kill it,
let it go.
You don't give it any power. And that's easy for me to say. No one ever fucking called me that in school. No one ever like used that word on me as they were beating the shit out of me because of who I loved. You know what I mean? It's a lot easier for me to say.
It definitely, and that little aspect of it definitely matters. And I'm not trying to sound like a social justice warrior or anything like that, but no,
it does.
That definitely matters, because as a kid who grew up, as a guy who grew up with that word as a kid, and I was called that as an insult. We called each other that when we were trying to put each other down. If I were called that today, like, I still feel a little bit of that. Oh yeah, this person is really trying to put me down. Like, it carries weight with me, and I'm not even a homosexual just because I heard it so much when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
If I were a homosexual, it would probably offend the shit out of me right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope it dies forever. You know, I mean, I hope it does. I don't know why Eminem uses it or decides he wants to use it. Like, I think maybe he was thinking, like, just like you said it 3 times just today. Maybe he was saying, okay, well, if I say it in reference to what somebody already called themselves, then it's fine, because it's almost like a news article in that situation.
Right.
Like, I don't like using it at all. I feel like I heard it in another one of the tracks on that CD too. But maybe he was saying something else. It was like in the hook, like scratched in on the actual track Kamikaze, but it might have been a different word.
Maybe. I think if it's so, that word is starting to be like, how do I put it? I'm way ahead of myself. Different, like, slurs,
Mhm.
they carry different weight. So saying like, well, the word faggot, it's like the N-word, and they're not the same thing because the plight of one social group is not the same as the plight of another social group. It's just not. They just don't have the same history.
Right.
But that word has been elevated to where like people are trying to push it into N-word status. Like, don't say the word faggot because it's just like the N-word. And I get that argument if that feels really bad to you. Now, when it comes to things like the N-word, people say it, and they say it like they say versions of it in rap songs, and they say it in all these ways. But I'm talking about the N-word like with the hard R.
Right. What's behind it?
If you're gonna say the N-word, I'm not talking about when you're referring to the N-word, when you're talking about the N-word, or you're talking about the word faggot, but when you're calling someone that, or you're saying it without that context, it's one of two things. You're either trying to hurt someone because you know that word hurts people. You know it offends people. You walk into it knowing that, right?
Yeah.
So there's not a single person in America who doesn't have that knowledge. So you're either trying to offend people, or you're trying to make some kind of point by saying it. And if you're trying to make some kind of point, your point better be fucking good, and it better be worth all of these people that you have upset.
Yeah. I think like what's the difference? Yeah. It's what's behind it. And it's interesting that
Exactly.
we're okay saying one
Are
word
you
and
trying
not
to
the
hurt someone, or are you trying to make a point?
Yeah.
And if you're trying to make a point, then what is your point? And it better be good.
Yeah.
Because you've just upset you've just been an asshole. You've just upset all these people.
Right. So you're saying that you don't think Eminem's point was good enough?
From what I heard, no. It also could have been strategic. That's a whole other. That's
just
a
to
whole
raise
other way to look
eyebrows.
at
Like for him,
just to
controversy
get controversy.
is good.
Yeah.
You have to think about that. And the same thing with the battle culture right now. There are a bunch of people who he calls out in a good way. Hobson and J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar, and that's all. But like the second Machine Gun Kelly heard that Eminem disses him, he was like, yeah! He just hit the lotto.
Mm-hmm.
He just hit the lotto. Like the same with anybody else. And thankfully, Machine Gun Kelly, and I heard the track, it's actually pretty good. His response is pretty good. He actually responded. Nobody else, I don't think, has just responded. Lil Yachty hasn't, and Drake hasn't. It's like, his stock just went through the roof. And this guy.
I think Yachty responded verbally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That guy's gonna have some trouble. Machine Gun Kelly can actually rap at least.
Yeah. Machine Gun Kelly's good.
Yeah, but like I think the fact that Eminem is who he is, unless he actually does something like Kevin Spacey style or something like that, I don't think not very much language that he uses is gonna end him.
No.
The biggest thing that he has to worry about is the fade away factor, which is
Right.
what he's actually battling right now as a rapper. And that's the question. How do you be a dope rapper at 46 when you can't rap about being poor anymore? You can't really rap about, it's hard. Like I can't really imagine what his struggle is. It's so much more interesting to me watch. Like his last album was kind of weird. It's kind of like, what are you angry about? You're doing songs that sound like you recorded them in your car. But then there's a song
Watch
like,
out, Lloyd.
I know
you're gonna be on his next track.
Hey man, that would be the best day of my life.
Yeah, right.
But I know it's just interesting for me because then you're a guy like Machine Gun Kelly, you're 25 or whatever, and you're right in the heat of it. Of course your stuff is gonna be more raw. You haven't experienced any of this stuff yet.
Right.
Eminem's on his like 8th, 9th album. You're not like a singer-songwriter with a band or anything like that. Like it's so tough to please everybody all the time that it makes total sense to me that he would come back with this Kamikaze album. Like, fuck all you guys. Eminem without someone to diss is like a Ronin. You know what I mean? Like a samurai without a master. I think that's why people are liking this Kamikaze album. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, I saw it all in my Facebook timeline. People just being like, Kamikaze is amazing. That's how I learned about it. Oh my God, you heard Eminem's new thing? It's amazing. And people are talking about it. Yeah. Good for him. I don't want to call it a comeback because the thing is, Eminem is at a point in his career where he's not making any new fans. He's reached the maximum amount of people, and everyone either loves him or isn't into him. Yeah. So I don't think he's picking up anyone new at this point. He's like I don't want to say his career's peak or anything like. He's maxed out on the amount of like if his fan base is somehow 100 million globally, it'll be that until the end of time.
Yeah.
It'll never go up to 200 million.
He's just
but what he can do is he can lose fans.
Yeah.
And that's the interesting part, not just about him doing the diss rap thing, but him coming in 2018 at 46 years old, calling another grown man, a faggot, which itself it seems so dated.
Yeah.
To me. I'm a fan of Eminem.
Yeah.
I really am.
I don't know why he did that. Like, again, I think he just thinks he probably referenced it. Who knows? And also, again, I think it's probably the point of like, fuck it. If I get some press about it, it's good. If I don't get some press about it, it's good. The beef is all good for him at this point.
It's there definitely had to be some strategy in there. Somewhere along the way, the recording engineer, the producers, the label, somewhere along the way, someone said, "Hey, man,
yeah, what do you think about this?
What do you think about that lyric? You think there might be some controversy there?"
Well,
and Eminem had to make a decision.
Does he bleep it out?
No, it wasn't bleeped out when I heard it. Eminem bleeped something out? No.
Well,
the Walmart version.
Yeah, right.
The Walmart version might have it, but somewhere along the way, someone said something to him, and he had to make a decision.
And here's the other thing too, is that a lot of his fans don't give a shit.
Of course they don't.
You know what I mean?
Of course
like
they don't.
the liberal side over here in LA and the 2018 people in LA, of course they're gonna be upset and like maybe rightfully so. But most of his fans, not only in America but globally, they just don't give a shit.
Yeah, especially globally. Especially globally, because that word carries a lot of weight here. Yeah. But over in Indonesia,
it's just like the word like the word cunt. Like here it's like this big thing. Like it is. It's like, oh my God, don't say that. But in the UK, it doesn't mean shit. Like that's like every other word. You know what I mean? And it's just like the power of a word is based on decisions. You can decide or decide, it's like, and that's the world we live in. But it's such a toss up. But what's going to be the worst word to use of this generation?
But when and language evolves over time. But when you choose to use a word that you understandingly
is going to hurt,
a large amount of people, you can't be surprised when those people that word is going to make people react. So you cannot be surprised when they actually react.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, fuck these people.
Yeah.
No, not fuck them. You knew that going in.
Yeah, you did.
And he hasn't responded, so I'm not trying to suggest that he is upset that people are reacting. He's probably, he probably has these people right where he wants them. They're probably reacting exactly the amount that he wants them to.
I think if he doesn't start some sort of stir up, then he's less Eminem than he always is, and that's his biggest fear.
There you go. That's a really, really solid point. Yeah. Okay, you want to talk about Louis C.K.?
Oh boy.
Woo!
From one to the next.
I know. All these guys. Oh, the internet is so mad.
He needs to have a different two-letter, like Louis J.K. for jerk. Louis Jerk Off.
Louis MB.
Louis Masturbate.
Oh my God. Poor guy.
Now coming to the stage.
Poor guy. No, another guy who
give him a hand.
Oh, God damn it. Oh, another guy who, I am a fan of his work and everything, even after he, became such a jerk off.
Mm-hmm.
I still see his old specials. I still like him, all of his work and everything. So it puts it in a weird position where he does these horrible things, and you're like, man, I want to forgive him, but I see why people are upset by the fact that he did what he did. So a little bit of context, Louis C.K. 9 months ago he was called out, he was exposed. 5 different women accused him of masturbating in front of them.
Unsolicited.
Apparently he had consent. It was consensual.
That is not what I heard.
I read all this stuff, and the women who agreed didn't think that he would do it, or they thought he was joking, or something like that. I didn't read anything that said it wasn't consensual, but that I suppose that could be debatable. There are 5 women. I don't know if all 5 of them came forward and said, actually, I agreed. But I do know that some of them said it was consensual, and he definitely said it was consensual. So let's pretend that it's a toss-up.
Okay.
That we don't know if it was consensual or not. So anyway, and he, his hit show on FX got canceled. It's a movie that he was filming. It was dropped from distribution. I think he was dropped by his agents, or he
HBO,
lost a ton.
Yeah.
He lost a ton.
Well, that's why I do feel like it wasn't consensual, because if it was, then there wouldn't be as much of a there would be no reason to do that if it was consensual.
To drop him? No, we were in the height of the Me Too movement. Like, people
Right,
have been
no.
dropped for less.
Right, but in the Me Too movement, it's about consent. If you consent to something, then you're good. Like, it's not like there's no if I ask you if I can do something and you say yes, then it's you both agree to it. My understanding is he got up to the hotel room, closed the door, the girl walked in, then he turned around and he's jerking off in front of her without them knowing about it, without her knowing about it at all, and it was certainly not consensual, which makes way more sense
Right.
for what happened in the fallout.
Okay. So he definitely said it was consensual.
He did.
He did.
Yeah.
Some of the victims did, and I didn't see it in any of the other victims' statements, but maybe some of them said it wasn't. I don't want to sit here and argue that it was.
Right.
Because I really don't know.
Right.
And I'm not trying to apologize for what he did. It was shitty.
Right.
So anyway, he was spotted doing a 15-minute set over at the Comedy Cellar in New York City. It was a drop-in set. He just kind of shows up. The MC let him go on. He did 15 minutes. The crowd was really surprised. He didn't talk about the jerking off stuff. He didn't address it or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't jerk off right there,
Right.
surprisingly, which would have been a cool move. But as long as he asks.
Oh, God.
No.
Give him a hand.
Hey. So, no, he didn't do any of that, and allegedly, he got a standing ovation at the end, because everyone was very surprised to see him in there, and the owner got, like, maybe one customer complaint from the Full House, according to the owner.
Right.
So that's Louis. That's what he did. He's making his way back into comedy, or at least he's doing a set, and man, is the internet pissed.
Well, yeah. I get it.
I get it,
It's
too.
not like the guy's clocking into the Chevy factory, like anonymously to go back to work. He's a public figure,
right,
who has to stand in front of an audience and make them laugh about stuff that they can relate to in order to make his money.
Right.
So I can understand them being up in arms. I do want to go back to something you said, though, where you said you're not excusing what he did because he's an asshole. But if he got consent, then how is he an asshole?
Sorry, I gotta adjust this chair.
Like, you're like, hey, I want to jerk off in front of you. And the girl's like, all right. That doesn't make you an asshole. So that's why it doesn't make sense.
There were also accusations of, him blacklisting them, holding back their careers after that stuff kind of happened.
Okay.
There was like a whole thing where they were like, yeah, I jokingly said yes, and then he started doing it, and then I was like, no.
Okay.
So it gets into that kind of weird stuff too.
Okay. So that's a different
Yeah.
thing.
So pretending that he had complete consent,
Right.
The effects that it allegedly had on these women's careers, and that he was sort of holding them down, and
Right. That's some bullshit.
not physically holding them down,
no,
holding down
yeah.
their
Well, yeah, because that was anyway. We know my stance on this, what I heard and what you heard, whatever. We'll figure that out. Do I guess the question comes down to, do you think someone can be forgiven and what is the extent of that based on their behavior,
Yeah, of course people can be forgiven.
Well, it depends on what they did.
The question is it
depends
soon?
on what they did. And is it too soon, and what did they do? For me, like, if he had raped, I don't know. God, it's such a touchy thing. I do think you need to forgive people. I think he has handled it the right way. He admitted that he did it wrong publicly, and he said, I'm not going to say shit. I'm just going to listen right now. I'm going to go try to work on myself and find out what it is about me that's fucking making me do this shit, which I think is the way to go. I think that undeniably he's a brilliant comic.
Right.
Undeniably I bet you that people were rooting for him when he came on, and just I wonder what he said to get a standing ovation.
He probably did a really good set,
right? But it surprises me he didn't say anything vulnerable about the situation to earn the standing ovation.
Me too. That no pun intended. Me too.
Right.
Surprises me too that he didn't address it. Like, I feel like that would be the elephant
in the room,
jerking off in the room.
Yeah.
I know.
I think that, like, it does feel a little early.
A little bit,
But
yeah.
like, what are you gonna do? Like, he probably has gangs of money, but that guy. It's like asking a guitar player not to play guitar. A comic needs to do that. I know a lot of comics, and that's what you have to do that. You can't ask a person to just shrivel up and die, even though that's what you might want them to do. But if a comic like that who can't do that, I think might be worse. It might drive him crazy. It might make him go off the deep end, and he's still got kids to raise, and he's still got things to do. So how do you do it? I don't know. Maybe start writing jokes for other people anonymously for a while, Louis, before you go on stage or something. I don't know, man.
So out there in Streamland, what do you guys think? Do you think Louis has should Louis come back? Is it too soon? Let us know in the stream.
And let us know why too. If you think he's too soon, let us know why. If you think that's the right thing to do, let us know why. It's tough to say.
I got a point to make on it. You know, maybe it is too soon, maybe not. But there is an argument to be made about whether or not the guy has a right to work. People have a right to work. And outside of imprisonment, I can't think of a scenario in which an American citizen is just not allowed to work. Like that.
Doctors or a lawyer, you can get disbarred. You can get your license taken away from you.
You can, but they're not. You definitely can, but what they're saying is they're not going to stop you from like working at a grocery store. You see what I'm saying?
They're just going to stop you from working at a specific job.
Right.
So like that's like, hey man,
with a certain license.
You lose your comedy license, you're out.
Damn it.
You got to drive Uber. Imagine you got in an Uber and it was Louis. I'd be like, oh god.
Oh god.
Oh man. I think I mean it's an interesting point. You have to work. You
absolutely have to work.
You have to work, and it just depends on the job. There's a lot of jobs you can be banned from. A priest, you could be banned from. Like I said, lawyer, dentist, anybody like that's a license, a driver. If you get, the guy who fucking crashed the Exxon Valdez, that guy's not hopefully driving fucking tankers again.
Yeah, but he can still go and do another job.
Right. So could Louis.
You know what I'm saying?
So could Louis.
Do you think there would be public outcry if Louis was bagging groceries?
No, I think that would be welcomed. I think a lot of people would be like, that's what you get. Because there was that other thing that happened this week to the kid. There was a guy who was an actor on the Cosby Show this week who was spotted bagging groceries at Trader Joe's and got like shamed for it. Mm-hmm. And now there's like a backlash about that. We're like, don't shame the guy. He's fucking paying his rent. He's Trader Joe's. Fuck off.
He's working.
But I do think if people spotted Louis there at this point in time, based on the behavior, they would consider it punishment and support that. I think they would.
But as long as there's a market, like as long as there's an audience who wants to, because
that's a supermarket?
That's the thing. There's not if you own an oil tanker, there's not an oil tanker in the world who's like, I want that Exxon Valdez driver who hit the iceberg.
Right. They're not going to sell tickets.
To drive. But Louis has an audience. He has fans, and those fans want to see him. Clearly, they're like giving him standing ovations and everything. So and he wants to work, even if it's like a 15-minute set. So I can see that being like pressing on him, especially as a guy who's done this for 20, 30 years. He's like, man, I want to get back in, and I just want to see if the people will receive me, even if it's only been 9 months. Well, I get it. The guy's got to pay his bills. We assume he has millions of dollars, but we don't know what the fuck's going on.
I think that is the thing about Louis specifically as a person and as a comic too that may have won over that audience and that may be helpful to him in this situation is the thing about Louis that's always made him good is he was honest and relatable, and he's not super gorgeous, he's not all ripped up in shape, he's not like sending money around. The person that he is the inside voice to a lot of people what they're thinking, and that to watch someone's perspective and recovery from that happen probably makes people think to themselves, Jesus, if I ever got in this situation, God forbid, how would I come back? And what kind of balls does it take for him to go on stage and do that? Right or wrong, still takes some big, hairy balls.
By the way, I'd watch the shit out of that. I'm so curious as to what he has to say.
It's like it or not, Bill Cosby's return to comedy, people would go.
That's true.
People would go. I wouldn't go, but
I'd
people
watch
would
it.
go.
I'd watch because I'd want to see. I'd want to see what's his perspective. If he talks about it. If he doesn't talk about it, I wouldn't want to watch it.
Yeah.
So we did have a comment from the stream. What do you got, Zach?
Gabriel Mister says, I would love to see him back, though I do understand why people don't want him back. It's been 9 months. I think it's time.
Okay, so Gabriel Mister says he would love to see him back. He understands why people wouldn't want to see him back. He thinks 9 months is a
months.
appropriate amount of time.
So you think so you think that in the same amount of time it takes to build a baby,
Right.
you can build a new
You
career.
can build
you
a
can be
new,
reborn
completely new thing.
after 9 months.
Is that even a thing you have to like go to rehab for? I feel like celebrities, they'll. I mean, this is not sexual misconduct, but they'll get caught in a drunk driving mishap, and then they go to rehab, and then they're back. They're like, look, I
Right.
went to rehab, I'm fine.
Well, I've taken therapy before, and it fucking helps, man.
Sure.
Like it helps even just to talk about stuff, and like it's cathartic, And I don't think it's like a switch that's all of a sudden you're better, but I feel like it helps. Like look how far he pushed his fame and career and power to a point of extreme where that bullshit had to happen for him. Maybe it was a wake up call. Thank God he didn't hurt somebody worse. I feel like addressing that can't hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And probably at some point that doing that on stage will help him too.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I really want to see it. I'm very, very, very curious.
I'm very
to see
curious
it.
what Dana and Julia are two of the women who came out against him in that specific, and they're sketch comedians from Chicago. They kind of ran in the same circles when I was growing up. I'm very curious to hear what they would have to say about his return to the stage.
About his return, yeah. My general thing is like if he wants to do an open mic every now and then, I let the guy work.
Right.
If a guy like if OJ Simpson wanted to get a job or something and he wasn't in prison, I'd be like, well, I mean, let the guy work. Let him do his thing.
As the club, do you become then guilty by association though? And is that too much of a risk for some places?
As the club?
Yeah.
Yeah, potentially, but that's the risk you take as the club. And if you're a club and you're willing to take that risk and the audience is willing to watch you and the comic is willing to get on stage and it all makes this perfect economic market, it's hard for me to argue with that.
Yeah.
There's an audience there, people want to see it, and he wants to give it.
Yeah, I mean there'd be an audience for David Duke though too, and like you don't have to let him do a fucking speech at your spot.
No, I'm not saying the club has to let him do anything. I'm saying if the club wants to let David Duke in and there are people who want to listen to David Duke and David Duke wants to talk, that's what free speech is. It really is.
Yeah.
But I would it's hard to argue with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Okay, so I got an idea.
Okay. What do we got?
We've got a little
Do we need a break?
No. We've got a thing that doesn't work.
Oh, see, we've been battling with this all day. Maybe this software doesn't. Maybe we're being listened to right now.
I know.
And someone doesn't like what we're saying, man. They're out there.
The podcast gods.
They're coming for us, man. They're listening all the time. Your phone is always listening. That's fucked up, dude.
That's crazy. You can't hear that audio, Zach? All right.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, that would have normally been the Make It or Break It intro song.
Should we do it ourselves?
Yeah. Make it or break it. Okay, Make It or Break It is the that is the game we play every single week where I give you a romantic dating scenario and you have to decide whether or not you could make that scenario work or break it off. So the one I have this week is not related to one of our stories.
Oh, good.
Okay. So imagine you're dating someone for a couple of months. And
couple of months.
Yeah, it's going great. It's perfect.
Great.
It's a perfect partner for you. And then you suddenly find out that she had an ex-boyfriend before you, as these things happen.
Okay.
Now,
she was touched? No, just
Jesus. Now, they ended the day before you guys met and started dating.
So I'm the rebound.
But they ended because he died.
Oh, God.
Now, before you answer this, let me go into sponsor mode and say, if you want to support the podcast,
hey guys, if you like these and other morbid conversations, go ahead and click that Amazon link.
I wanted to throw you a curveball this week. So yeah, if you were going to shop on Amazon
for a casket,
for a coffin, or an all black suit or an urn. No, if you're going to shop on Amazon, click through our link. It's amazon.com/shop/kings. It doesn't cost you anything extra. Just do the shopping you were probably going to do anyway. And Amazon gives us, they pay us a little bit for referring you. It helps support the podcast. Again, that's amazon.com/shop Patreon.com/kings. It's down below in the description.
Yeah, click it on it down.
Click it in. All right.
Whatever.
Okay. So what is your make it or break it?
Here's what I do. I stay together with her, but I break up with her in my mind.
Okay.
And here's why.
Okay.
Because she scares me. How did her dude die? Why is she so ready to date again directly after? Is she a vampire? Am I her next victim? That's where my head's at. I stay together, but I slowly distance myself over a period of time. Maybe I slip a teaspoon of dishwasher detergent in her coffee every morning to slow her up for a while so I can make my escape. She's not getting me, man.
No,
I'm not going down like that.
One of the biggest rebounds I've ever had the chance of thinking of is like that guy died and the next day she started dating you.
Yeah, man. She's a killer.
Probably went to the funeral on her day off.
Yeah.
You know, from you. Like, no, it's super morbid. I would immediately break it off and be like, you need time.
Yeah.
And you are just not the kind of person who I want to be with because, like, you're not self-aware enough to know that you need time before you jump on to the next D.
Dude, she's a vampire. Get out of there, man. Get out of there.
No, this is assuming she had nothing to do with the death.
No, I don't know,
But
man.
no, you are Captain Rebound right there. Yeah,
that is a rebound slam dunk. That's like bigger than a rebound. That's like if you rebound it, grabbed the ball out of the net again, and then slammed it on the other side of the net.
And also the guy looks strikingly similar to you.
Oh, dude.
His name is also Lloyd.
It's Body Snatchers. Bro, it's Black Mirror. We out. We got to get out of here.
Oh, my God. Yeah, so that you would make it work.
I would make an escape.
Low
Slowly.
key.
Don't show your hand, man.
Oh.
Don't show your hand. See, I think you're going to get killed.
I would break up immediately.
Nah, dude, you're dead. You're so
maybe,
dead.
maybe. I'm like, baby, I'm sorry. But
you are?
Yeah, this isn't going to work for me. It's the whole, dead ex-boyfriend right before you dated me.
Yeah.
Also, the butcher knife you're wielding.
Yeah.
Just not a good sign.
You're dead. You're so gone, man.
Good.
Man, who am I going to do this podcast with? Ray got murdered.
Oh, no. All right, we got one more story.
All right.
Now, you had read a lot about this. The Nike hired Colin Kaepernick, the football player.
Yeah, to
do an ad.
30th anniversary of the Just Do It campaign was this past week, and as a part of that campaign, there was a photo of several major athletes, including Colin Kaepernick, and there was a caption under there that said, "If you don't believe in something, then you stand for nothing," or something to the effect of his whole situation with the kneeling for the American flag and stuff. And the internet is up in arms. People are hashtag like drop Nike, hashtag never again. People are burning their fucking shoes on the internet now. They're burning their shoes. This country singer like posted a photo of him like burning Nike socks and shit like that. There is just a bunch of backlash over the fact that Nike would support Colin Kaepernick in his stand against fucking police brutality against black people.
Sorry, soundboard works again.
Yeah, right.
This is a bad time for laughter.
Jesus.
Soundboard works.
Yeah. So there's this whole big thing now. The stock of Nike dropped by about $3 in the day because the president came out against it. The ad, this Kaepernick ad.
The president of the United States commented.
He tweeted about it, about how yeah.
All right, what did he tweet? I didn't see it.
Tweeted about just how they shouldn't support that, and how that NFL is tanking because it's a dying sport, and that it's a hard time for him watching it because people don't stand at the flag.
So you mean at the anthem?
At the anthem.
So did the ad actually come out, or did they just announce?
No, it's out.
Oh, it's out. What is the ad?
No. It's gonna air. Supposedly, it's gonna air at the opening of the NFL.
So it hasn't aired yet.
Well, people know it's out, so it must be out someplace. Either I don't know how an ad works, but it's out there.
So people have seen it.
Maybe not.
But does the ad address any of the anthem stuff at all, or is it just Kaepernick?
It says, well, pull it up. I don't know, Zach, if you can pull it up and read it. It basically says, the caption says, if you don't believe in something, you stand for nothing, or what does it say?
Has the word "stand" in it?
It's addressing that.
Oh, it's addressing that
very
thing?
Easily. Just the fact that Kaepernick is in the ad.
Yeah.
Is enough.
Right.
For people. But it's just so stupid for me that people are burning their. People are saying you don't support veterans and you don't support the cops if you don't stand for the American flag in the national anthem, and they're burning their damn shoes that they could give to a veteran who's on the street. And if you don't understand that kneeling in peaceful protest is fighting for the exact things that veterans are fighting, then you're backwards, man. That is what it is.
But what about the NFL being? Oh wait, Zach has the exact wording.
Yeah.
So it's going to premiere Thursday.
Comes
Okay.
out Thursday.
It says believe in something even if it means sacrificing everything.
It says believe in something even if it means sacrificing everything.
Which Colin Kaepernick arguably has.
right.
Currently not playing in the NFL.
Right.
Currently suing the NFL for collusion.
Hashtag
Basically-
no collusion.
Hashtag no collusion. Blackballing him.
Okay.
You know, you have every other major sport being like, yeah, kneel, go ahead. But the NFL, because it's all fucking run by, I don't know, good old boys and shit, they like, the rule this year is you can't kneel or else you get banned and fined. But if you don't want to come out of a locker room, you can stay in the locker room.
Right.
Because we don't want to see that.
So what about the argument that the NFL is a private business?
It is, but then you're being private douchebags. You know, yeah, sure, it's a private business, fine. But you're a douchebag. So is Nike a private business? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. So I think, and this is my like unpopular opinion, but hear me out on this. I think that the NFL having the players say, sing the national anthem or stand for the national anthem, I think having the national anthem at a sporting event is in itself a political statement. Now, because it's certainly not neutral, and not everyone at that stadium is, an American citizen or agrees with everything that's in, the anthem and all that stuff. So that, like, if you go to work and your boss makes you salute the flag or stand for the anthem or anything, that in itself is a political statement. So with that being said, it is only reasonable to allow them to, I don't know, kneel or make some kind of opposing political statement.
Sure. Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. It is politics are the rules that run our country. We're honoring our country when we sing the national anthem.
Mhm.
So it makes sense to make that argument. And then I think we probably agree to like shun, to just to think that it's un-American to protest is dumb. That is what we're fighting for.
Well,
and I
yes.
just can't believe that there are people out there like all up in arms about that. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I also think making it about the veterans is also just misleading.
You're not that.
That's not what it is.
It's the same thing with people saying the All Lives Matter movement. Those fucking douchebags. You know what I mean?
What's the deal with that?
You're basically, yeah, of course all fucking lives matter. That's not what we're talking about. That's like if I have beef with you and you go, yeah, but what about when you do this? That's like 4th grade shit. You know what I mean? Like there's a problem going on. People are getting shot in the back because they're black by cops who are white. A lot.
Right.
Now, do we see this more often than we used to because there's cameras everywhere?
Yes.
Yeah, we do. Do we see cops getting shot and the dangers that they go through? No. That's what's called being a cop. That's the job you took. And to say like, all lives matter is basically saying, yeah, well, they're getting shot too, and you're shuffling the problem and putting it back on the actual problem. And that's what 4th graders do.
Right. Well, I can give you a good analogy because certainly in it out of context, like all lives certainly matter. But if you broke your foot and you went to the doctor and you're like, my foot's broken, he's like, let's heal and focus on your whole body.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck you, my foot.
Fuck you, my foot.
Fix my foot.
Dude, fuck you, my
Just
foot.
fix this thing right, this immediate problem right now.
Absolutely.
No one's saying that my whole body doesn't have problems or isn't in perfect shape or whatever, but like right now, this thing is in pain and it needs to be addressed.
To say, absolutely, 100%. And to say that kneeling is disrespectful to the flag is bullshit. It's respectful to the flag. Imagine everybody in the whole stadium kneeled. Imagine everybody in the whole stadium kneeled together and said, we as this whole fucking place won't take this, we won't do it. Football will change.
Oh yeah.
Football will change. You got the owner of the Cowboys out there kneeling with them. You got some of these owners, and it's some of these owners who think that because there's ticket sales will be lost because of people watching less football, which they're already doing, by the way. They're not going to allow these players to do it. It's asinine, man. It's just asinine to me.
I don't think people should be required to like salute a flag or stand for a flag. It just seems archaic to me. Like you can respect. So 2 things can happen. You can respect your country.
Yeah.
And you can also not salute a fucking flag. Like,
Yeah.
those two things can coexist, and people don't seem to be able to wrap their head around, no, if you respect this country, you stand for the flag. No, I don't, and,
No.
and like, I do all the pageantry, and I stand for the flag and all that shit, but I don't think anyone should have to if they don't want to. It's silly. Like, what are you really doing? And I hate to be freshman philosopher about this. Like, oh, yeah, I'll just stand for this piece of cloth with some imprint on
Yeah.
it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, but that's really kind of what you're doing. Like, what is this thing you're making that you're forcing this person to do? You're socially pressuring this person to stand and go through the pageantry and sing the words to the fucking anthem to prove what? To prove to you that this person like loves where they came from?
Yeah.
No,
You
like
don't
they
know-
will prove it on their own time or they will not prove it at all, but it's kind of none of your fucking business.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like if you.
Damn, I'm on fire today.
Yeah,
I'm
dude,
mad about
it
that shit.
pisses me off. It really does. That's why I wanted to talk about it today because there are so many issues that are murky and foggy and gray area, and this is just so crystal to me that you are more respectful to this country when you are honest to this country in your effort to make this a better union, a more perfect union. That's in the fucking Declaration of Independence or whatever. Like, that is what this country is about. So to say it's disrespectful to kneel is ignorant and naive. And then to cloak it in the fact that you're representing veterans. If you're a veteran and you want to stand, then do it, man. But most of the veterans that I know and most of the military people that I know respect people who kneel. And it's a bunch of people who are either never been or removed from it that want to. It's just like a bunch of people who are never been oppressed getting super upset about on behalf of people getting oppressed. It's like, dude, that's not what they want to say. You're putting that out there because you want to like get some of that shine. You're just talking shit right now. Ugh, drives me nuts.
And now they're all taking it out on Nike.
It drives, and Nike's gonna dude. This is gonna be great for Nike. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
They're gonna laugh all the way to the goddamn bank.
Oh, yeah.
Invest in Nike right now if you haven't, because that's gonna go through the roof.
Oh yeah. No, Nike.
And good for them.
Nike will be fine. I mean, their stock may have dropped, but like they'll just outsource. They'll save the cost by outsourcing to more sweatshops,
Yeah.
child labor. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
Nike's fine.
They've done-
This podcast is brought to you by Nike.
Yeah.
This podcast is brought to you by Reebok.
They have some skeletons in their closet, but they came out on the right end for this one, and time is always the thing. Like when Muhammad Ali was protesting against Vietnam and stuff, it was super controversial and everybody was on very different sides. There was a lot of lines drawn in the sand. He wasn't as popular back then. He got banned from boxing and now he's this big hero. And I feel like Colin Kaepernick is the most influential political athlete of our generation by far. And he should be applauded right now. And he should be put back in the NFL.
Maybe he's more valuable outside of the NFL at this point. I don't know. But as we've learned, it's 2018 and negative publicity is actually better publicity for people. So without a doubt, Nike knew some of this going in. They knew Colin Kaepernick was a controversial figure. They knew that they were directly addressing the controversy around him when they made this ad, and they still made the ad. I think Nike's very self-aware.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said with the Eminem
thing, yeah.
They didn't like just glaze it over.
Yeah, it wasn't just a guy who just hit upload and there it was publicly. Like they probably sent out PR statements and shit beforehand.
In 20 years from now, when they look at the situation, they're going to be on the right side of it, and they're going to know, hey, which side do we want to? We are. I mean, Nike is athletic apparel,
right?
It's not like they're fucking loafers and shit all day long. So you have to make a statement. You have to fall on one side of that. And if I was Reebok or Asics or Puma, I would do the same shit too. I feel like Kaepernick right now is, I mean, not that it's about the money, but he's probably making a good deal and probably will more and good. And if it wasn't going to change, I don't think it would be as popular. I think you'll never go back from this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
We are on the way to change. It's not like going to get okay again to have, you know what I mean?
It'll be a while. It'll be a long time before the shit calms down.
Yeah.
I mean, we're very divided, and there's a lot of vitriol in the environment right now in terms of like political statements and everything. And everyone, it's like you're taking a risk by taking a side, and you're also taking a risk by being neutral.
Yeah.
That's the world we live in right now.
That's a really good point. Well, I'm willing to get that risk, at least in this topic.
Well, you know what time it is.
Hey.
The kings of influence have delivered a verdict.
That's right.
It's back. It's that time.
All right. So this is the point of every episode where we crown a king of influence, and we also crown a court jester. I guess doesn't get a crown. They get the hat with the
What do you get? You
things.
get little bells?
The Joker hat.
You get little bells.
You
You
get
get the Domino's guy, the Lloyd hat.
Can
No.
you believe that used to be comedy? Like a jester, like he'd come in the colorful suit and the hat thing. And,
Slapstick.
yeah, and like it would do, I don't know, fucking somersaults and I don't know what kind of joke. Did you hear the one about the queen? And then
Yeah.
he gets beheaded.
Yeah.
Like,
Not
just
funny.
immediate- right? Yo, Queen Mama's so fat, and then he just gets lanced right through the esophagus.
Just Lance.
So, so this week we have what was the first story we had? We had
Gigi.
Gigi Gorgeous trying to get pregnant.
Mhm.
We had Eminem surprise album where he dissed everyone and used the homophobic slur that he is well known for using. We have Louis C.K. trying to come back to stand-up comedy, and then we have Nike who put Colin Kaepernick in their ads.
Yes. Who do we crown?
Who's the king?
Who do you think?
Who do I think? Man, this is a tough one. So I would give it. I gotta give it to Kaepernick or Gigi. I don't know. I would say Kaepernick. I'm gonna
Yeah.
give it to Kaepernick because Kaepernick is doing what Kaepernick does. So he's standing by his position.
Yep.
He's winning because he's partnering up with one of the biggest athletic brands in the world, if not the biggest athletic brand. He probably made millions of fucking dollars off of that.
Yeah.
He's
Eat it.
His name is in the news right now. He couldn't so. I bet you $1 million. I bet you all the money.
I can't cover it, bro.
I bet you all the money that Kaepernick made off that ad. That he is super happy right now because he feels justified.
Fuck yeah.
It's like the president's trashing him and half the country's trashing him and country music fans are burning shoes in his name.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter because a major fucking athletic brand came to him and said, hey, we're behind what you believe in.
Yeah.
We're behind you.
Yep.
So he feels like justified. If anything, the corporate world is behind him.
Yeah.
So I would give it probably to him, slightly over Gigi. Not because I don't sort of respect her right to chase pregnancy and try and have a kid and all that, but she didn't necessarily pull it off yet.
And it's a self-fulfilling effort.
Yes. So I can't crown her queen.
Yeah.
Let's be fair.
Yeah.
I can't crown her queen until she pulls it off.
No pun intended.
Oh god, no, that would have been the Louis joke.
Yeah, right.
That would have been the Louis
He really
joke.
pulled that one
He
off.
pulled it off. Everyone, give him a hand.
All right, I'm with you. I'm gonna even go above and beyond, and I'm gonna give the crown to Nike. I feel like Kaepernick, of course, doing it right, but he's been doing it
Because Nike took a risk.
because Nike took a risk
Yeah.
and backed guys and
Okay.
backed their guy. So I think that they get the crown, despite all the controversy that surrounded Nike over the years. I think that this is a great move for them, and I think that I'll be proud to wear their shoes in the future.
In the future. Yeah, I'm not wearing Nikes, I'm more of a Converse guy, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so who gets the jester?
The jester, I mean, as much as I love him, I guess I gotta give it to Eminem. I gotta give him
yeah,
the jester.
I do too.
I mean, I don't.
I'd write something more creative, brother. He's got more ability than that.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I give it to him is because there really is nobody else to give it to. You know, Gigi's doing fine, and who else did we talk about after that? It was Louis. Yeah.
But you could argue that Louis could get it. Maybe he came back a little too early. Louis, you came a little too early.
It just
You
never
don't need
ends.
you don't need that kind of exposure right now. Like everything you say about him just becomes a
Yeah.
jerk off joke.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna give it to Louis. I take it back.
All right.
I'm giving it to Louis. I feel like Eminem is. I feel like you can argue his perspective on that, and there's and it's it's nothing very new for him. And even though it raises flags, he's doing it intentionally, and it's probably gonna be for the benefit of him at least. So he's not as a donkey as the rest. But I think Louis, you could have handled it better. But he got the he got that standing ovation. It's tough. What do you guys think? I don't know. Let us know, maybe.
Let us know. Let us know in the stream.
Yeah.
But let's sign off, and then let's talk to the stream really quick. If you're in the
Yeah.
live stream right now, hang out for a sec. We'll talk to you after we close.
Yeah.
But we are live every single week. When is that, Lloyd?
Every Wednesday at noon. We're here on YouTube now. We used to be live streaming on Facebook, but we're over here on YouTube. We got the page built out. We're excited. We're putting full episodes out.
Woo.
The full episode will be live streamed on Wednesday, and then we'll actually release it on Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
We got some clips coming out, so make sure you subscribe and hit that little bell, which is like
Wait,
the second subscribe
No, the
button
full
now.
episode is live stream Wednesday, and then it just stays on the site.
Oh,
so it stays. We live stream Wednesday at noon California time, and it just stays there.
There you go.
Woo!
So share it with your friends. Hit the subscribe button and the bell thing. The bell is like the new double subscribe.
That's such bullshit.
It's like the sidecar subscribe.
You need your people who are already subscribed to subscribe, like you're subscribing to a subscription.
Yeah.
What kind of bullshit is that?
It's like the.
It's
I
like
don't
when
know.
you're locked onto one of those like Columbia House schemes or something, and you have to like, one of those credit score scams, and you got to like double uncheck your.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that in reverse.
Well, do it.
Whatever it is, fucking do it.
Do it.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Okay, that has been our time, guys. We love you.
Yeah.
We will be back next week. This has been Kings of Influence. I'm Ray William Johnson.
I'm Epic Lloyd. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next Wednesday. Take care.